Well, how we doing, gear lovers the world over, coming at you from the Wyoming wilderness on our annual multi-day backpacking trip where I take a few buddies and we go out and explore. And when you're hiking in miles and miles and spending the night at 10,000 feet, every single piece of gear has to be reliable. And on a trip like this, you're counting every ounce. So I can't be bringing up half a dozen different blades. So why on earth would I choose as my one and only belt knife on a trip like this the LIONSTEEL ACHA, a knife that is purpose-built to be disassembled and fall apart for maintenance and cleaning, and then to be reassembled with all kinds of moving parts, partial tangs and bolts and all kinds of stuff. Why would I take this tool miles and miles from civilization? Well, as we're about to find out in this video, there is a lot more than meets the eye with the design, the durability on this tool, as I'm going to hammer and wail on this to see what limitations this design may have and help you guys determine for yourself, is it better just to stay with tried and true dedicated full tang knives, or does this bring something unique to the table? If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Aaron. This is Gideonstactical. We are going to have a ton of fun. So let's go ahead and dive on in. Now, it's funny. When I was at the LIONSTEEL booth at Bladehq 2025 picking up this knife, they said to me, Aaron, not hard use. Not a hard use knife. Not like the T5. And I said, oh, okay. But you guys know me. I want to know, with all these moving parts and all this stuff, is this durable enough to handle practical tasks that, say, a T5 or other belt knives could handle? But first, let's take a look at the guts of this knife and how it really works. Well, each knife is going to come with this little tool, kind of a pin, that you pass through the holes on the bolt butt cap that is compressing everything together and holding it tight. You just back it off. About 30 seconds or less, you're able to pull that pin out, and then you might need to tap the knife slightly or just kind of finagle it, and then that singular piece of burlap micarta that has been hollowed out slides off, and then you have the titanium guard, and then you have the knife blade with that partial tang. So there's 4 moving parts, and now you have disassembled your knife. Now, obviously, you don't want to lose this little tool, because then all the functionality of what this knife brings to the table goes out the window. Now, the benefit is that if you were to lose that or didn't know where you misplaced it, any sort of normal punch you would find at a hardware store will easily pass through those holes and give you the leverage you need to tighten it down, loosen it up. Even appropriately diametered Allen wrench can pass through there and, you know, do what you need to do. So that's a benefit, that if you do misplace or lose that pin, it's still able to be assembled and disassembled. Now, it's funny because I'm seeing a lot of people state, oh, this is a full tang knife. I mean, I wouldn't call it a full tang knife. This, the LIONSTEEL T5, this is a full tang knife to me. We have a singular piece of metal with the tang being just slightly narrower than the full broadness of the blade, with either canoed or bolted on handle scales. This, we have moving parts in here with a bolt, and we're about to find out, like, is this thing just gonna start wobbling and moving and shifting? And it's either I would call a stick tang or potentially a rat tail tang. That's more what it looks like and would appear to me. And so now that it's all back together, let's see if this design is just for show or if it's ready to go. Okay, so far so good. Here's the moment of truth. That's about the biggest piece of wood you'd ever be able to span with this. So let's see what happens. I don't even know if we can get through it. That's a knife. Come on, baby. That is just the tip. Oh yeah, dude. Oh my gosh. Oh, whatever, dude. There is nothing that is as tight And that thing has not shifted at all around the guard. Oh my gosh. And that pivot screw has not like loosened up or anything. I got no rattling, no clicking, nothing. That is super impressive. And I think it's just because you can manually crank it down and give you the tension you need. Nothing, and I am super pleased with that level of performance. Now, would I treat it like a Becker BK2 or the LIONSTEEL T5? I wouldn't do that, but basic kindling, if you need to delimb some stuff, this thing is holding up really well, and it would handle anything that I would expect out of a sub 5-inch belt knife. Okay, so now that we know it's not gonna fall apart in your hand, is it even really a good belt knife? Does it actually have grind geometry and handle ergonomics to make it an enjoyable experience, or is it just a party trick? And we'll get to that in just a second, but you guys know that when you are out on adventures, you need your apparel to work as hard as you do. And I brought with me 3 essential pieces of gear at this point because I've been trusting them for over a year now. And they are Huckberry's exclusive Proof 72-hour series of wool apparel. And I can't recommend these Proof pants enough. With 47% merino wool blend, that means that they breathe so well when you're on trail and you're exerting yourself, and they're gonna be more abrasive resistant than synthetics that tear and rip really easily, or a little spark gets on it and they just punch a hole immediately through that. And then on the flip side, when the temperatures drop and you're hanging out around camp and around the campfire, they're gonna keep you warmer than those really thin, not breathable polyester and synthetic types of trekking pants. And then the dual combo of the 72-hour t-shirt, which has been my base layer all around camp, in the tent, and when I am hiking. And then when needed, I have the 72-hour sun hoodie, both rocking 87% merino wool. So these are very well blended, and the hoodie is perfect for when the sun's beating down on you, but when the clouds come in around dinner time, keeping you warmer than, say, some synthetics. And so, guys, that's just the tip of the iceberg of the different items that Proof carries exclusively at Huckberry. So I encourage you guys, check them out. They work really well, especially in environments like this where you want to get the most out of your gear. I'll have a link popping up as well as in the description box below over to Huckberry so you can start exploring all the different options that are available. Now, I feel like the blade design just as a whole just screams kind of old school, perfect for the Wild West and the Wyoming wilderness. And when we look at from guard to tip, we're looking at 4.5 inches overall. The cutting edge is 4.25. Now, LIONSTEEL likes to make their blades thick, so this is 0.19 stock thickness, but they do really well with grind heights and broader blades, because from edge to grind transition on that flat grind, it's going to be just over 1 inch in height, meaning that this is going to work really well with the finer work, regardless if you're using it as a camp kitchen knife. Great for that type of thing because of the belly. It's going to be able to make feather sticks very easily. Really nice to make those curls done well. And then you're going to be able to do minor side splitting, making the notches that you want, spear points, doing those type of tasks while going through hemp rope and cordage and zip ties and just general utility that you may be doing with this size of belt knife. And because it's got good belly but a nice drop that is aggressive, it is able to pierce and handle that side-to-side lateral strength very well. So you're going to get piercing capability as well. It does have a little flat portion right there to rest your thumb up near the belly transition for better notching control. It does have a swedge. That is where there is a 90 degree. You can get sparks and get a fire going. It's not quite as easy to do as, say, on the T5 and some other fully, sharp 90s, but it's doable, and especially if you have some sort of wick or cotton ball or something like that, shouldn't be a trouble at all with a fire steel. Now, as I stated earlier, I got this at Blade Show from LIONSTEEL, and it must have been a Blade Show exclusive because mine is MagnaCut. The standard option right now is M390, and there is no MagnaCut available. So I cannot speak to the performance levels between those two. If you were to ask me between the two, I prefer MagnaCut. It's easier to work with and field sharpen, and there's a little bit extra durability. On the flip side, M390 has better edge retention. So it's going to hold its edge a little bit longer than MagnaCut. And in that current format, leave a comment below if you already own the M390. How is that performing for you? And if you guys would like to see MagnaCut in some future date, and maybe it's on this way, who knows, or if you are happy with M390. And that'll bring us right into value, which is kind of shocking. And stick around to the end of the video because I'll touch on where I see the T5 working better and where I maybe see the ACHA working better. But when we talk about pricing, 180 is kind of the going rate for a T5 nowadays with Nylox, all Italian made. So when we're looking at M390 and all these extra moving parts, titanium guards, what are we talking? 275, 300, probably 199. $200 US currently when I'm doing this video on the M390 versions. That is wild. That is crazy. 20 bucks more than the LIONSTEEL T5 with way more moving parts and, you know, higher end steel, all this. I don't know how they're doing it, to be honest with you, which is kind of wild. So I will have links in the description, popping up wherever I can. If you are curious, not only about the T5, but also this ACHA, those are all included below. And let me know what you guys think. I mean, what does that stay to some of these other super high end knives that aren't having all these moving parts and they're wanting $100, $200 more than what LIONSTEEL is producing? So what about this leather sheath? Well, it's handmade in Italy. I mean, it's exquisite. The leather is very good quality, double stitched. It's what you know from a LIONSTEEL blade. Now, currently, I believe they only come righty, and they are going to have a good belt width, easy to carry around camp as a belt knife. So if that's what you're looking for to carry on your hip, it rides on a good height, you know, so it's not too high riding, and really sits snugly on your hip. Here's the one thing, and this is with any type of knife using this type of tension, is that it has a button snap, no problem there. But if you just unpop that and then try to pull the blade out, you are going to drag the blade across that leather, no problem. You're going to wear that thing gone and just slice it to pieces. So it's kind of tricky, and you really got to kind of watch what you're doing. And honestly, it's just not my preference. I would have preferred a different style of leather sheath. I think the knife styling totally calls for that. And ultimately, I'd love to see, for those people who want it, and I would be one of them, a Kydex sheath offering like they have done with the T5 in recent years. So it's very well built, good quality, just really got to keep an eye on that button snap because the likelihood of you nicking that is, in my mind, about 100% at some point. Actual ergonomics. It's great to see how a knife comes apart and put back together, but if it still, you know, sucks to hold and use, then why bother? Well, again, being one full piece, in this case of micarta, and it has this nice little drop in and then a big full girthy handle with light ribbing, rounded everywhere. And then we got that guard that is encapsulating right there. It's milled all the way around, so there's no 90-degree angle right there, and then just a little shoulder right up there. And what that means is that my two front fingers lock into place right on that guard, feel nice and full, and then it slowly contours to the back half. Look at how much real estate I have in my large size hands that are 3 1/4 across. I am so locked in, and this blade feels extremely comfortable. The style along with ergonomics really flow well together. So to button it all up, why didn't I take the LIONSTEEL T5 and opted for the ACHA? Because I mean, I could have taken whatever the heck I want into the Wyoming wilderness. Well, it basically comes down to the fact that the ACHA has proven itself with all basic camp tasks, and it actually is the better camp knife in my opinion because the handle is more ergonomic, less transition points. You know, the T5 is still very ergonomic. Great knife. I'm not dissing the T5, but we have crown spine, a little broader back there. Certain people just may not connect with it as well and not quite as ergonomic as a fully rounded handle like you're going to get on the ACHA. Add to that the belly is a little bit more sweeping, and we have a higher grind by about 1/8 of an inch. The T5 has a lower grind, more piercing, great as a crossover combat utility knife that can absolutely be used in a camping situation. I have camped with this on many occasions, and it does great, but higher grind, more belly. It's just going to do this stuff I want around camp a little bit better. And the main thing is that this weighs 2 ounces less than the T5 on average, about 7. This is about 9 to 10 ounces. And when you're hiking 30 miles at 10,000 feet, going over passes and stuff, every ounce matters. And if you're looking for a one and done survival knife, yes, the T5 is the way to go, and that would be the one I would recommend. But I like to take multiple tools, so I took a folding saw because that works really well out west. Our wood out here is very light. it's pine and aspen, so it's either fully alive or it's fully dead and dry as a bone. There's no in between, and we're not working with hickory and oak, where there may start to be some problems if you're using this type of knife versus just a full tang, one and done, thick, robust beast. So that is why in my environment where I went, I opted for a lighter weight, more ergonomic handle, better for my environment as a belt knife to the T5. But the T5 is still excellent. Both are great. And the ACHA has proven itself to be far more durable than I was expecting, and that is why I took it with me, and it passed every test and all my use with flying colors. So that's me and my mileage. Leave a comment below on your experience with the ACHA. If you already own it, do you think it's a really cool idea, or is it just totally stupid, and stick with the T5? Really look forward to hearing what you guys think, and appreciate you spending your time with me today. Check out the other videos, subscribe if you haven't, and until next time, always remember to stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.